You know what I'm tired of hearing? Why doesn't Gen Z just get a job? It's like,
Oh yeah, sure, let me just walk into the company and hand them my resume. I am totally sure they won't tell me to just apply online, right? I'm sure all of those job postings that demand 5 years of experience for an entry-level position are just waiting for me to fill them. You fucking idiots.
even questioning why Gen Z can't get a job is objectively mostly being asked by either young people or boomers who have been working the same job for decades, who somehow miraculously think that employers still will bend over backwards for you if you have a degree. But if you watched any of my previous videos, you would know how bullshit jobs are nowadays. There is so much to cover within this topic that there is so many videos I want to make regarding all of it. The most intriguing idea was the degree I got that was supposed to guarantee me career success, but is now just a cringe piece of paper indicating my commitment to being a good boy in society's eyes. Real talk though, if you don't want to go to college or you are about to enter college, I would recommend not to. I plan on making a video explaining different options you can take to become successful that I wish I had pursued instead of a degree. Growing up with the adults that I was around, I was always told that college was pretty much the only way to succeed, when in reality, that is so far from the truth just a decade later than when I was manipulated into complying with their bullshit agenda for my future. This brings me to explain why we as Gen Z are not simply just complaining. We're living the struggle. The struggle is mostly different for everyone nowadays and highly dependent on age, as throughout your 20s and 30s you are rapidly improving. The sad reality is that even though you are improving, you are not even rewarded even half as much as you deserve in the 2020s. And it's a struggle that the older generations don't seem to get and simply don't care about either. If you want to know why older generations don't seem to get it, I have made a video highlighting the boomer greed, which goes over not only their greed, but their mindset towards Gen Z and how they refuse to acknowledge our struggles or help in any way. But anyways, let's talk about the job market, which everyone loves to blame Gen Z for not entering. The problem is, there simply aren't enough entry-level jobs. Whenever I go on the cursed job-seeking apps or websites, I am always scrolling through many jobs that are available, but guess what? They are all for either management positions or high experience level roles. And the reason for this is simple, and I bet you can guess. There is not enough skilled workers to fill these positions, and I doubt there will be for at least another decade the way things are going. Companies refuse to train any new employees as this costs them quite a bit of spare change to do. Because why train some new beta male how to do the job when you can just hire someone who already works for the company and pawn their duties onto someone else? And you might think, well, people are just going to quit if that happens. And yes, they do quit eventually, which is what the company wants. Then they get to hire all new employees who are way more desperate than the last and will accept dogshit wages. And even if they are terrible at the job, the company is still winning as they are only investing half of what they paid the last employee. And chances are, with the steep job requirements nowadays, sometimes these desperate new hires are even better than the last employee, arguably. The whole system is set up for older generations to succeed, while we're left fighting for scraps. We're told to just get a job, but have they even looked at the job market lately? But that is too hard for them to think, as they are so fed up with their usual lust for greed, power, and control. Gen Z isn't asking for all of that. We simply want a living wage, nothing less and nothing more. We would also like the opportunity to work hard if we choose, which would have a better chance to get a luxury lifestyle as well, of course, like the boomers had. To dumb it all down, here is the explanation. There's an oversupply of labor and not enough good positions to go around. Sure, millions of jobs have been created in the last year, but don't let that fool you. Most of those jobs are either minimum wage fast food positions or ghost roles in companies that are just hiring to look good on paper, but have no actual intention of keeping people long-term. It is no wonder nobody has company loyalty anymore and will job hop non-stop. To us, whoever rewards us the most will get more of our time and effort, and that's how it should be. Anyone who pays dogshit wages nowadays deserves to have their company burned to the ground. Every day, we're forced to compete for jobs that don't pay enough to cover the basics of life. So what do? We get stuck in this cycle of working multiple part-time jobs or taking on side hustles just to survive. Here's the thing. Rent prices and the cost of living are way higher than they were for previous generations at our age. And when you're barely scraping by, you can't really focus on advancing your career or investing in things like savings or personal growth without feeling extremely exhausted. I got a degree thinking I was going to be set for life. And guess what? I'm still competing with people who have 10 years of experience in the field, and they'll work for the same amount or less than someone just starting out. And no, don't tell me that experience is what gets you hired. If they want experience so bad, why don't they train their workers? Why does it always feel like we're supposed to just figure it out on our own while they sit back and watch us drown in every aspect of life? Employers used to care about their employees. Now they just treat them like dirt. And let's not forget the boomers, the ones who keep saying, "Why doesn't Gen Z just get a job?" Here's the problem. Boomers are not retiring, and they're not leaving. According to recent data from Bureau of Labor Statistics, the workforce participation rate for those 65 and older is higher than it's ever been, and it's only rising. In fact, boomers make up over 25% of the U.S. workforce, while Gen Z workers make up just around 10%. Why is that important? Because when boomers stay in the workforce, they take up all the good roles, leaving us to fight over the scraps. And on top of that, boomers are taking massive pay cuts while looking for new roles in their later years. But the real joke is that they're still demanding the same pay and the same expectations in the workplace. Experienced employees who have years of expertise are now underpaid because they're willing to accept anything just to stay employed, no thanks to the piece of ass we call the economy. But guess who this impacts? Gen Z. We're stuck in this endless cycle of catching up, where the best roles are always given to people who have decades of experience, even though those roles aren't suited for people our age anymore. So let's say you do get a job, even though you're constantly playing catch-up on your finances and experience. You go to school, get a degree, learn the right skills, but then no one cares. You're still overlooked for people with more years of experience. Or you're stuck in entry-level positions that don't offer any room for growth and take advantage of you in every way possible. We're supposed to be the most skilled generation. But guess what? No one cares unless you've got 4+ years of experience, and even then, you're competing with people who are willing to work for peanuts just to watch their Netflix when they get home and feed their piss-smelling cats while watching Grey's Anatomy. It's like we're in an endless race where we never get ahead. We're constantly told to improve, but the job market is so hyper-competitive that it's hard to get anywhere when you're already too far behind the desperate cum-guzzlers of the current job market. And you might think, whoa, Chase, you are saying a lot of vulgar language there. And at this point, I stopped giving a fuck. I came to YouTube to speak my mind, and if I get shadow banned for that, then, oh well. Because not going to lie, it feels like I've been shadow banned lately. At this point, maybe you've realized the hard truth like I have, that the only way out of this bullshit job market is to do it on your own. Starting my own business, freelancing, or finding side hustles is the only way I see that leads to any sort of freedom. And even if I fail at this whole YouTube thing, my main goal is to perfect video editing and hopefully find work with that skill in the future. Living at home with your parents is another option, but let me tell you, living on your own, especially at a young age, drains your bank account. You're not a hero for being independent when you're barely scraping by every month. But for a lot of us, it's a mental health decision. The pressure of living on your own can be overwhelming, but at least it gives you control. At the end of the day, people like to blame Gen Z for not just getting a job, but the reality is that we're trapped in every way older generations weren't when they were in their 20s. We've been dealt the shittiest hand by older generations, and we're just trying to find our way out. And if you get angry at this, you're part of the problem. Boomers and Gen X had their time to change things, and they failed. So yeah, we're blaming them. Go cry about it, Boomers and Gen X. We are not about to live our adult lives enslaved to older generations who have done nothing but squander the resources they have been handed and destroy not only the economy but the job market as well. If you agree with my takes on this, don't forget to subscribe for more coverage on the bullshit we have been handed by these greedy bastards. One thing is certain. We are sure to expose every nook and crack of the hypocrisies of this system, so stay tuned for that, and I will see you in the next one.